Coming up next on this edition of In the City, Bradley Academy celebrates 100 years of women's voting rights with a special event. Also, the Murfreesboro Chapter NAACP hosts its annual MLK Breakfast. Plus, the Murfreesboro Municipal Airport receives a $1 million grant to expand the apron. And a new group of gowns are on display at the Wedding Dresses Through the Decades event at Oakland's Mansion. We'll tell you all about those stories and more coming up right now on this edition of In the City. Welcome to another edition of In the City, your source for what's happening right here in the city of Murfreesboro. I'm Michael Linn White. In honor of Black History Month, our first two stories are just a taste of the events happening this month around town. 100 years ago, the 19th Amendment was added to the Constitution. To celebrate, Bradley Academy hosts an event to educate, remember, and discuss the topic of women's suffrage. 2020 marks 100 years since women in the United States were granted the right to vote. At Bradley Academy Museum, a special event honors this achievement with a night of art, poetry, and more for the community.
We've got a building that's full of art and activities and discussion that's all centered on celebrating 2020 as the centennial of the 19th Amendment, women's suffrage, women's right to vote.
Look closely and you will see a common color throughout the night, yellow. A yellow rose signifies supporters of women's suffrage. This event brings supporters of every age and race to discuss the importance of women in civic matters and what can be done today to carry on this legacy.
To talk about the legacy of that struggle for women's vote, which took over 70 years, and are we living up to that legacy? And if not, why not? And what can we do?
This special event was designed to bring the community together to celebrate women's roles in history. Organizers say they hope it will spark discussions and ignite interests.
Hopefully, some of the people who are here tonight will go back and talk about that in their families, in their organizations, and just kind of spread the word or open the eyes of other people.
Bradley Academy hosts all kinds of events throughout the year. Visit our website at murfreesborotn.gov for more information. Reporting for CityTV, Michael Linn White. At the annual MLK Breakfast on MTSU's campus, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is honored along with those in our community doing great things. The Murfreesboro chapter of the NAACP once again hosts its annual breakfast at MTSU.
We first of all give recognition to a great leader, and that's Martin Luther King, and all the sacrifices that he did for the country, not just for African Americans, but for the country.
Founded in 1909, the NAACP is the nation's oldest and largest civil rights organization. Hundreds gather in the James Union Building at MTSU to not only remember Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but also members of our community who have done extraordinary things.
Dr. King was about service. People a lot of times think just of the marching and the speeching, but he was about service, and we want to encourage people to get involved in the NAACP and in their community.
Among those honored, dispatcher Brady Lutton is recognized for saving the life of a man 500 miles away. Engineer Tim Rowlett, who saved a life while off duty, says his job doesn't stop just because he's off the clock.
I'm not one for recognition. I just do my job, and I enjoy what I do, and as long as you enjoy what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Humanitarian Award winner Willie Nelson says he hopes his recognition will inspire others to get involved in whatever way they can.
All I'm doing is just giving back to the community, like those that came before me who gave back, and if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to do the type of community work that I do. Proceeds
from the breakfast help fund various youth programs and also towards funding the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Scholarship Fund of Rutherford County. Reporting for CityTV, Michael Linn White. The City of Murfreesboro Municipal Airport has been awarded a 2020 Aeronautics Economic Development Fund grant of $1 million. It will be used towards the expansion of the apron at the Middle Tennessee State University Aerospace Airport campus.
The City of Murfreesboro Municipal Airport has been awarded a $1 million grant to help meet the needs of the airport and MTSU's Aerospace Department.
Well, each year the Tennessee Division of Aeronautics through the Department of Transportation goes through a process where airports can apply for economic development grants. And they're specifically looking for projects at airports where there is a business coming to Tennessee or to your community, or one that is expanding that's creating jobs. And so this year we put forward a application for this grant for an expansion of apron area and taxiway that would support the MTSU Aerospace Department. Apron is kind of a large parking area for aircraft. So we have to park the aircraft, we tie them down, and allow for areas for them to do maintenance on them and do their engine run-ups and checks and things like that before they take flight. You know, nationally and internationally, there is a pilot shortage. And right now, the Middle Tennessee State University and the Aerospace Department, along with other flight departments across the country, are experiencing a huge enrollment of students into their pro pilot program. And MTSU is certainly one of them. In the last 2 or 3 years, they've had a growth of about 30% in their student enrollment. So they are purchasing aircraft, refurbishing aircraft, and in so doing, we have to be prepared for that growth and provide that apron space and this new access to new areas of their airport campus. And this grant will help support that infrastructure to be put in place. Currently, we are 100% occupied on all of our tie-down space and in all of our hangars. So right now, we constantly have people calling in to get tie-down space or hangar space, and they're on a waiting list. We have set aside, knowing what MTSU's growth is, we have set aside some space, but at that point, we are completely packed. So we have to create that extra space for them to grow. We really feel that not only will this help the university, but this will also allow us to move some aircraft around the apron, open up some more space for their growth, for community growth.
The Murfreesboro Municipal Airport is currently constructing a new municipal airport terminal, anticipated for completion in August 2020. The new $4.5 million airport terminal replaces the old terminal originally built in 1952. The new 15,200 square foot terminal will include a large main lobby with raised and ground level observation areas, lounge seating, a large leasable business conference center, smaller conference room space, pilot lounge, and office space.
You can really start to see probably 98% of the exterior is on that facility. They're about to close it in so we can do all the work on the interior. And we're looking at taking occupancy of that facility around August. The really key thing on this terminal building is it allows us to have space to bring the community in. We've never had that meeting space in there before. We hope that companies that are coming into Murfreesboro and to looking at our community can sit down with the people they need to sit down within our community and work out the details there, be able to fly home that afternoon and sign some paperwork and start work here in Murfreesboro. It'll be an opportunity for people to come out and watch aircraft. There's going to be an observation deck where people can go out, watch the aircraft come and go.
It's that time again for one of my favorite exhibits in town, the annual Wedding Dresses Through the Decades exhibit at Oakland's Mansion. Join me as I chat with Mary Beth Nevels about what's new this year.
The 9th annual Wedding Dresses Through the Decades has begun at Oakland's Mansion. Stories of our community from women's history, fashion history, and cultural history through wedding gowns and the stories behind them. Our own Michael Linn White gets a personal tour of at least 95% new dresses in this display from previous years.
Thank you for joining us. And why don't you start out by, we're going to talk about what's right behind us. Tell us about this one.
Well, this year we're fortunate to have several families who've collected not only the wedding dress, but other dresses that go along with their special day. One family in particular has grandmothers, mothers, and then the daughters. It's the 1920s, 1946, and 1974. And it's a wedding dress and a going-away dress. And then the 1946 dress has the going-away dress, the negligee, and the robe. So the family has kept these treasures for all those years.
I think it's really neat. When we were looking at it, right here is the robe and the negligee, and that's such a neat addition this year. I've visited this exhibit for a couple of years now, and this is really neat to have these different, not just wedding dresses, but these new additions.
Yeah, we've also got Mother of the Bride's dresses, and that's different this year. We haven't included those before, but the decision that the Mother of the Bride makes in picking out her dress is sometimes just as sentimental as the wedding dress and the going away dress. And the brides today may not wear the going away dress like they did in the 50s, 60s, 70s. So it's interesting to see those more of a casual dress next to the wedding dress.
Yes, and they're so neat, and it's interesting to see. You can, especially in the going away dress, you can really see the fashion of that time period. That's what I thought when I saw it. We're not showing it right now, but if you come see the exhibit, you can come see these dresses that I'm talking about. And there are other new additions this year, like I know we were talking about how one woman donated some love letters from her husband.
Yeah, we've got a 1949 wedding, and they met on a blind date when they were away at college and then went back to their hometowns. And through their years of dating, they never lived in the same location, not until they got married. And they wrote old-fashioned love letters from the 1947 through 49 when they got married. And we have those love letters and a photograph of them on their first date.
So Mary Beth, tell us about the ticket prices, and there is a combo package to tour the wedding dresses exhibit and also tour the mansion. So tell us about that.
Yeah, admission to the exhibit is $10 per person, and if you would like to do a house tour while you're here, we have combination tickets for adults, seniors, and we also have group rates. We have several of the assisted living homes and church seniors groups that come through every year. It's a great winter field trip or outing. It's all inside, all on one floor, so great for all ages. We've also got a princess night, which is perfect for our little princesses to dress in their tiaras and princess costumes and come and see our princess dresses.
Well, that is really fun. And the cool thing about this exhibit is that it changes every year. And there are a few dresses that the mansion owns that are really old, and they're also really cool to see. But so if you come every year, there's always something new. And these new additions, plus more that we haven't shown you, you definitely want to come check it out. And this is Mary Beth Neville's brainchild. She came up with this exhibit, and it has just grown and become even more popular through the years.
Well, thank you. It has been something that the community has embraced, and as long as people call once or twice a week and say, hey, I have a wedding dress, and people continue to come and see it, then I think it's a great community partnership that we can provide.
Murfreesboro Parks and Recreation is rolling out a new environmental campaign with a little help from a high school senior.
Murfreesboro Parks and Recreation's Better Borough project is a citywide initiative to promote health in many different areas. Mayor McFarland has challenged the department to branch out to include environmental projects. Two of the more recent ones are BYOB, or Bring Your Own Water Bottle, refilling your personal water bottle at filling stations around the city instead of grabbing a plastic water bottle. The newest one is Bring It, trying to reduce the use of styrofoam coffee cups at parks facilities.
Just a new thought in the whole environment is reduce, reuse, and then recycle. And so that's part of that reduce and reuse if you just bring your own cup. I mean, it seems to be relatively simple. Bring your own cup. After we did research on how the polystyrene affected the systems and the environment and that type of thing, then we went on and said, oh, hey, let's just bring our own cup. That way we're not using any product. We're sticking with what we have at home. And so we kind of got together and decided we're going to do this campaign. We're just going to call it Bring It. Just bring it. We went to the facilities. We went to SportsCom, we went to Patterson, and we went to the Senior Center, were our three targets to start with. We asked them if they wouldn't mind putting up a sign, and it was educational. Taught people and just spoke about what it is that styrofoam does to you and what it does when you put hot liquid in it.
To help in this Bring It campaign was a Blackman High School senior and the Blackman Collegiate Academy, looking to do a project to help Murfreesboro.
We help the community. We find a problem, Mine was the landfill, and the problem was styrofoam. Okay. And that's what I dedicated my time on. And then so I wanted to find an alternative to reduce our trash as well as eliminate the flow into the landfill, because I know it was filling up in the following 6 to 9 years. We did a lot of research on the damages of styrofoam, but also alternatives to replace that. So not only replacing it, but also reducing the amount of trash we use by the Bring It campaign. We gathered 3 alternatives of PLA, polylactic acid, polyethylene, and polypropylene.
After Federico gathered his information, his teacher gave him Jennifer's contact information. He contacted her, and his information worked perfect for the Bring It campaign. Keeping styrofoam out of the landfill is a great incentive, but the city wanted another incentive.
If they brought their mug and drank out of it 10 times, they get this T-shirt. And it's a great T-shirt, basically tells everybody this is what I've done. You know, I've helped the earth, I've helped the environment. It sounds like a small thing to do, but in the scope of things, if everybody did it, it's huge. It's huge. They'll get a card, they just ask for it at the front desk of either one of those 3 facilities, SportsCom Patterson or Senior Center. It's literally a business card. It's that size, so you can keep it in your wallet and just, you know, ask them to punch it. And then after you do that 10 times, turn it in and they'll have a T-shirt for you.
The T-shirt logo was also designed by Federico, which again was a great experience for him as a student and a great opportunity given to him by the Parks Department.
I designed a series of 4 shirts. 2 of them were typographical, which is words, and then 2 of them were a visual representation, which was the Mother Earth crying with the styrofoam on the back, and then the other one was a pile of trash and having a styrofoam cup like right on top of it. So after all this drawing and stuff, I got to export him, import him into my computer, and send it to her, which was kind of interesting. It was my first ever project, doing it out of not a hobby of myself, but doing it for somebody else.
We're hoping to offset the cost if you bring your own mug. And we also have a different mug for sale if you chose that. If you thought, I don't have one that won't break, we did produce a Better Borough Project coffee mug that's metal, it's insulated, has a lid, and it'll be for sale for $10 at the counter of SportsCom. I would hope it would extend to other venues, especially within the city. It's easier for the employees to bring their own because they've got a desk or somewhere to keep it. It's the people that work out we have to kind of encourage.
For 2 years now, Bob the Book Bus brings books to children throughout Murfreesboro, and this year they received an exciting and much needed donation from a local retailer.
Bob the Book Bus rolls through Murfreesboro with a bunch of new books. It's kind of like a mobile library. It stops at different places throughout the city, except on Bob, they don't have to worry about due dates or late fees.
They can take home books with them that they can keep. They can bring them back and trade them, or they can keep them and come back and get more.
Bob is for any child in the community, even if they aren't in school yet and even if they don't live here.
We don't check to see if they're Murfreesboro City schools. What's important to us is that all the children in our community are able to read and have access to books.
Oh, it's such a good one. Thank you.
Through a recent community partnership with our local Barnes & Noble, the retail chain donated 1,000 books collected in just 10 days.
We ask all of our customers when they come in with each purchase if they'd like to donate a book to whatever organization we're sponsoring at that particular time.
Organizers say they couldn't have done this without the generosity of our community.
Everyone here is so giving and supportive, which I think is what makes our schools so wonderful, is because it's not just the teachers or the administrators that are working with schools, but it's also that we have this community that's really invested in education and sees its value.
Bob the Book Bus runs throughout the year and in the summer. For more information, visit cityschools.net. Reporting for CityTV, Michael Linn White.
The United Way's Volunteer Income Tax Assistant Program, or VITA, offers free tax help to low-income residents, persons with disabilities, and limited English-speaking taxpayers who need assistance in preparing their own tax returns. The kickoff celebration happened at Patterson Park Community Center.
Fine United Way Day here in Rutherford and Cannon counties. Today we're celebrating Earned Income Tax Credit Awareness Day. And it's also the beginning of the United Way's Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. We refer to it as VITA. So this is the 2020 kickoff for VITA. United Way has 3 main community thrusts. One of them is education, one of them is health, and one of them, which is the subject of what we're doing today, is financial stability. It's our goal to help families in Rutherford and Cannon counties to take immediate steps toward financial stability. VITA is a free service that aids qualifying local residents in claiming their tax refund dollars. Through the United Way VITA program, volunteers are trained and certified to prepare tax returns for individuals and families with an annual household income of less than $66,000. Last year, 40 volunteer preparers completed more than 1,700 tax returns, resulting in a $2.2 million economic impact in Rutherford and Cannon counties. That's money that comes right back into our community. And that money, part of that is savings from not having to hire an income tax preparer, and part of it is refunds distributed to the people whose taxes were prepared. So that's pretty impressive, and I'm sure that we'll get every bit of that this year. I personally have a stake in this because I got a number of my Jones College of Business students who participate in VITA as income tax preparers, and I'm very, very proud of them and the work that they do. So with that, let me introduce the person who is the heart and soul of the United Way of Rutherford and Cannon counties, our president and CEO, Megan Flippen.
Well, good morning. Thank you so much, Dr. Urban. As he said, my name is Megan Flippen, and I have the honor and privilege of serving our local United Way. And since this program kicked off in 2012, so this is the 9th year for the VITA program locally, more than $10 million has been returned to families here in Rutherford and Cannon counties through this service. So $10 million has been invested back into this community. This year, we're excited to announce a program that will even further lead members of our community down the road to financial independence. LaunchPoint will aim to improve the financial stability and well-being of families by providing pathways for success and long-term stability through integrated service delivery to help connect members of our community to a continuum of services that will lead to their financial empowerment. So all of our partners are over here to the side, so take a moment after we cut the ribbon today to stop by and visit them, but they're playing a role in this new service called LaunchPoint that we've integrated into VITA this year. So in closing, I would just like to share a story from a past year with VITA. We had a young woman a couple of years ago who was eager to take advantage of this opportunity. And she was a single mother who was struggling to pay her rent after she had an unfortunate circumstance that resulted in a lapse of income. And after completing her course at the Tennessee College of Applied Technology, she was able to land a stable job and was looking for opportunities to continue her career or her pathway to financial stability. And so through the VITA program, she actually ended up earning $4,500 through her refund. And she was able to enroll into a 6-month program to assist with budgeting. And then she had a goal where she wanted to work towards a nursing degree, and she was able to use those funds to help support that dream of becoming a nurse. So we hope to be able to have successes like that every year where families have the opportunity to receive the funds that they've earned and use it towards empowering their future and their financial stability. 1, 2, 3. United Way VITA!
The Wilderness Station at Barfield Crescent Park has tons of programs for the whole family. I recently stopped by for Raptor Rhapsody to learn about birds of prey that live right here in Middle Tennessee. Check it out.
Easy. Here you go.
If you've never been to the Wilderness Station at Barfield Crescent Park, you're missing out on all of the cool programs they offer.
We are doing Raptor Rhapsody, and what we do is every few weeks we are doing a program with our educational ambassador birds. We have a red-tailed hawk, an American kestrel, and we also have a screech owl.
In this free educational series, you get up close and personal with these Tennessee birds of prey. Learn about why they have them, what you can do to help preserve them, and much more. 8-year-old Mo Talafuse came out with his family who just moved to Murfreesboro. He says he's interested in all things nature and wants to know what he can do to help.
Knowing more about the wildlife around me is just really interesting. And knowing that also is part of helping us conserving wildlife and making sure that we don't harm them in ways that could go unnoticed for many years.
Raptor Rhapsody happens every Wednesday at 4 p.m. and lasts about 45 minutes. For more information, check out our website at www.murfreesborotn.gov. Reporting for CityTV, Michael Linn White.
Rover, the city's public transportation service, has added Saturday Rover routes as another enhancement to customer service. Rover is operating 3 Saturday routes on Old Fort, Highland, and Mercury. The Saturday routes begin at 9 a.m. and end at 4:30 p.m. with the last round trip beginning at 3:45 p.m. Service will operate every 45 minutes. Also, beginning Monday, March 2nd, 2020, there will be 3 service changes. The first, the Mall District route, will service Stones River Mall, the Avenue, Social Security Office, Target, and Salvation Army. The second, the Gateway route, will service Hope Clinic, St. Thomas Hospital, Murfreesboro Medical Clinic, and the Guidance Center. And third, drivers will not stop or drop off any rider not at an official stop location with the Rover Stops Here logo. For more information, go to www.murfreesborotn.gov and under A to Z, click on Rover Public Transit to view maps, schedules, and other important information regarding Rover. Work on Murfreesboro's newest fire station, located on city land at Blaze Drive and Fortress Boulevard near Blackman High School, is moving to the interior with completion anticipated in mid-spring. The new location will cover calls in the entire Blackman community as well as portions of the Gateway. It adds to the latest stations built and opened in a growing city. Station 4, February 2019 on Medical Center Parkway, and Station 10, August 2016 on Veterans Parkway. The city will not need to add additional firefighters to open Station 11, but will instead move equipment and personnel around to facilitate better response times and operational capabilities for the department. The new station is part of a strategic plan and accreditation model to improve response times to calls and meet national standards of less than 4 minutes 90% of the time. It's that time, Murfreesboro Parks and Recreation Summer Camps 2020. Get a jump on summer and choose from several youth camps such as Wildlife Camp, Adventure Camp, Broadway Theater Camp, and much, much more. Registration begins March 2nd, 2020 at SportsCom, the Administrative Office, and Patterson Park Community Center. Register in person and pay with cash, check, or credit card, or online at www.murfreesborotn.gov/parks. City Manager Craig Tyndall appointed Greg McKnight as the Interim Planning Director. McKnight currently serves as Director of Project Development in Administration. As Director of Project Development, Greg has been a significant addition to our leadership team and has brought an excellent skill set to the city, said Craig Tyndall, City Manager. I believe those skills will transfer to top-notch leadership for the continued development of the Planning Department. McKnight brings to this position significant project development, leadership, and personnel management experience from his past positions as president of Pinnacle Construction and project executive on large construction projects. The appointment of McKnight as interim planning director follows a nationwide search for a new director of planning, including candidate interviews. That search was unsuccessful, and the city turned to its in-house talent to fill the position. McKnight takes over the day-to-day management of the planning department with 12 employees. Well, that's it for this edition of In the City. As always, for more information about the city of Murfreesboro or any of the stories you've seen here, you can always visit our website at www.murfreesborotn.gov. And if you want to see one of the stories that you've seen today or catch up on some of the latest city news, you can always visit the City of Murfreesboro's YouTube channel. I'm Michael Linn White, and until next time, we look forward to seeing you in the city.